Folks, do you remember when the Raw after WrestleMania, the show after WrestleMania, used to be so good? I remember vividly when I was at the Raw after WrestleMania, after WrestleMania 29. I went to that Monday Night Raw in New Jersey at what used to be the Izod Center, the Continental Airlines Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And that was the best Monday Night Raw that I've ever been to. Of course, I went to WrestleMania 29 that year at MetLife Stadium. Then I went to the Raw after WrestleMania, and in my opinion, the Raw after WrestleMania 29 is the greatest Raw after WrestleMania of all time. Again, that's just me. You guys may have a different opinion, but to me, the greatest Raw after WrestleMania of all time is the Raw after WrestleMania 29. I remember when Dolph Ziggler cashed in Money in the Bank and won the World Heavyweight Championship from Alberto Del Rio. Cool moment to see. The crowd, everything popped that night. The show was actually good, to be honest with you, that day. The show was actually good. The Raw after WrestleMania last year was terrible because they had no fans and we was in the beginning stages of the pandemic. This year, we had a Raw after WrestleMania from the ThunderDome, a new, different ThunderDome from a different venue. And I gotta be honest with you, this was not good at all. This show was uneventful, has so much logic gaps, and if you missed the show tonight, folks, God bless you. That's all I can tell you. Nothing really happened on the show tonight outside of the ending of Monday Night Raw, which we will talk about when we get to that portion of the review, which really made me scratch my head. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, this could work. We'll talk about it as we get to the end of the show. My opinion, night 1 of WrestleMania was better than night 2. I said it on my night 2 review last night. If you guys haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. Link to that video will be down below in the description as well as in the annotation on the upper hand corner of your screen. I said night 1 was better than night 2, although night 2 had the better main event in my opinion than night 1. Both main events were really good. Sasha and Bianca, night 1, great matchup. Roman, Edge, and Bryan in a triple threat for night 2, fantastic match. And I forgot to mention this on the review last night. Or should I say, yeah, last night. I forgot to mention this on the review last night. Both Bianca and Rhea Ripley was the final 2 women in the Women's Rumble match this past January, and they end up winning championships at WrestleMania. I guess. But Raw tonight, in my honest opinion, folks, is absolutely terrible. I said it on my night 2 review last night. Vince should be having fans for Raw and SmackDown from this point forward. Why are we even having a ThunderDome to begin with now? Vince has the green light to have fans on his show. He can. I heard a report from Meltzer. I don't know if this is true or not. But for now, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt until something changes. That the next time we could see possibly live fans for another WWE event is SummerSlam. Now, when I heard that, I'm here thinking to myself, could we see fans every time Vince has a big 4 pay-per-view? For Rumble, for Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. That's the big 4. Is it possible that Vince can have fans again by SummerSlam? He can. I can see Vince definitely having fans for Raw and SmackDown before SummerSlam. Because in my opinion, the COVID starting to, die down a bit. I mean, not really died down, but at the same time, it's not really a big issue. Because, there's a vaccine now. So, it is what it is. But, I'll leave that for another video for another different day. But, I want fans back for Raw and SmackDown. I'm tired of the ThunderDome. I mean, it looked good in the beginning. It looked nice and everything. It looked cool. The production was good and everything else. But now, Vince can have fans. If AEW can have fans there, sometimes AEW has like about like 600 people, 700 people, even close to 1,000 people. Those kinds of people with that amount of fans can still make a lot of noise. I mentioned this back on my night 2 review also. WrestleMania had about, what, 25,000? I heard it was over, at least over, almost up to 30,000. I had my boy tell me that this morning. He told me, oh, that WrestleMania had more than 25,000 for night 2. I'm like, really? It sounded better, low-key, than night 1, if you ask me. But I just don't know why Vince is going back to the Thunderdome. But we're here to talk about the Raw after WrestleMania right here on the channel for your Monday, April 12th, 2021. If you guys don't know who I am Chris. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel. If you guys thought that Raw was uneventful tonight, if you thought Raw was terrible, I mean, the show sucks every single week. But if you guys feel the same way that I feel, hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below your thoughts of the show tonight. And also, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell, guys, for all notifications. I have a bunch of content on the channel. If you guys missed all the content that I gave out this week, Raw review from last week, TakeOver Night 1 and Night 2 is live on the channel right now, as well as SmackDown review, the last SmackDown before WrestleMania, live on the channel right now, as well as WrestleMania 37 Night 1 review and Night 2 review. Link to all those videos will be in the annotation above that you see on the upper hand corner of your screen, as well as down below in the description. Make sure you guys are following me on social media. Twitter at GoodVibesChris_, Instagram at GoodVibesChris183. If you guys also want to follow me on TikTok, please do so. Follow me on TikTok at DaddyChris183. Raw tonight. We see a video from earlier today of Bobby Lashley arriving at the arena with MVP. Lashley is high-fiving people and signing autographs when Matt Riddle rolls up in his scooter. Riddle says he watched Lashley's match last night and he'd like a match against him tonight. Lashley refuses, saying he's only here to address the WWE Universe. He went to war with Drew McIntyre last night. I don't know why he's saying last night. He means Saturday night. And he's not going to wrestle someone lesser. Someone who got his ass beat by Sheamus. We'll talk about Sheamus in just a second here after this. Riddle quotes Lashley from a few weeks ago where he said he will beat anyone who wanted it. Riddle keeps talking until Lashley drops him and says he'll teach him a lesson in the ring. Now, before we go over the rest of the show, I want to say this real quick. Sheamus won the United States Championship at WrestleMania last night in the second best match in the entire show for night 2. AJ and Omos win the Raw Tag Team Championships back on Saturday night for WrestleMania. If you guys missed Monday Night Raw tonight, I know for sure a whole bunch of you missed the show tonight. Sheamus, AJ, and Omos were not featured on this show tonight. They weren't featured. Now during the show, they said that Sheamus was going to be on Raw Talk, but who the fuck watches Raw Talk? I don't watch Raw Talk. I'm sure you guys don't watch Raw Talk as well. Sheamus, AJ, and Omos were not featured on this show tonight. They weren't featured. Sheamus gets his WrestleMania moment. AJ and Omos get their WrestleMania moment, and they weren't part of the show tonight. That's kind of pathetic if you ask me. Because Sheamus is great. AJ is great. I want to see more of Omos. And the fact that they didn't use those 3 men tonight on this show really does speak a lot. We go live to the new Thunderdome. Woo! Which looks a little different. Which I will say, it does look a little different. The stage is a whole lot smaller. But more virtual screens all over the Thunderdome. That's the only thing I didn't mind about the new Thunderdome. Is the fact that the stage is more smaller. But yet there's more virtual crowds. Again, I progress again. Vince should be having live human beings on these shows. At least it makes Raw and SmackDown because that a little bit much more watchable. That's just me. So we go live to the new ThunderDome, which looks a little different, and out come Bobby Lashley with MVP as he gets his match against Matt Riddle in a non-title match. We're here for the new announced team: Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, and Adam Verk. I think it's from, I believe, the MLB Network or ESPN. I believe ESPN. I seen his face before on ESPN. Who revealed that we will get a rematch between Asuka and Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship, as well as a new episode of the Firefly Funhouse. I guess. Again, I said it on Twitter. Why is Asuka getting a rematch for the Raw Women's Championship? Why? I don't know. Lashley and MVP come to the ring first as he's coming to the ring, scooting around ringside. Oh, that was Matt Riddle. Lashley came out first, then Riddle. Riddle came out on his scooter, riding towards the ring, towards the ringside. Lashley hops out of the ring and smashes Riddle. Lashley slams him into the barricade a few times, then lifts him, runs him into the ring post. Lashley throws Riddle into the ring, and the referees start the match as we go to commercial break. I believe they went to commercial break. We get Lashley versus Riddle in a non-title match. This match wasn't that bad. It was good for what it was. Not really that bad here. But again, I asked the question, why are you even booking this matchup when Riddle needs a victory coming out of WrestleMania and you're putting him against Bobby Lashley, who can't lose at all? Who books this shit? Again, the matchup was not bad for what it was. It wasn't too bad. But again, at the same time, it was predictable. And I'll say this to the end of time. Sometimes predictable is good. But not this kind of predictable when you see it from a mile away. That kind of predictable is not good. Some predictable is good. Some. To a certain degree. So, back live, and Lashley's beating Riddle in the ring, in the middle of the ring. Lashley twists Riddle's head, who fires back with right hands and gets caught with the knees to the body. Lashley slams Riddle into the buckles before getting hit with an STO for a 2 count. Bobby punches Riddle, holds him down with a fist in his cheek. Lashley hangs Riddle on the middle rope and clubs him with cross faces before connecting with a back elbow. Lashley gives MVP a high five, then suplexes Riddle again, crushes his face with a fist. Riddle starts firing back, but again, Lashley drops him with a lariat. The Almighty attempts a flapjack, but Riddle counters and unloads some big kicks, then a ripcord knee, then manages to drop the champion. Riddle goes up top, attempts a floating bro, but Lashley avoids it, grabs Riddle in the hurt lock. Riddle taps out, and Bobby Lashley wins the non-title matchup. Predictable. Lashley is champion. He should not be losing on live television. Bobby Lashley continues his dominance on Monday Night Raw in what I thought was a pretty decent matchup. Now, we see replays of Ripley and Asuka from last night. Pretty good match for what it was, but the build was fucking terrible. They made it seem like Ripley and Asuka, from the video packages that we saw last night at WrestleMania leading up to the matchup, they made it seem like Ripley and Asuka was feuding for like at least 3 months. The new Raw Women's Champion, Ripley, is a heel, of course now, is interviewed backstage. Kevin Patrick congratulates Ripley and asks her how she feels about defending less than 24 hours later. Ripley says it's all about confidence. Her confidence allowed her to walk out and challenge Asuka to a match at WrestleMania. Meanwhile, Miss Ripley, you didn't even earn, not even a championship match. You just walked in the Raw like nothing. You pointed at the fucking WrestleMania sign, asked for a championship match, and you got it. And on top of that, now you're champion. How the fuck does that look? So, for example, I can walk out to SmackDown, challenge Reigns for the Universal Championship, and beat Reigns for the title. That's what it looks like here. I'm just saying that as an example. I love Roman. Don't get me wrong. Don't kill me. I love Roman. Now, babyface Roman, hated. Heel Roman, I love. Big difference. Her confidence allowed her to walk out and challenge Asuka to a match at WrestleMania and allow her to go out and beat Asuka. What confidence? What confidence? Ripley says the WWE Universe is about to see a brutal new order in the women's division. What division? What division? Can somebody answer that question for me? What division is Ripley talking about? No idea. Because if she's talking about the Raw women's division, it's non-existent. Oh, but you got Charlotte there. We'll get to Charlotte in a second. We'll get to Charlotte, folks, in just a second. Tonight, she will prove she's more than ready for Asuka again. We get Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin against the returning War Raiders. I will not call them the Viking Raiders. No. Get it right. The War Raiders. Ivar and Eric are back on a Monday Night Raw. Now, again, I will say this again. I said it in the last match. I'm going to say it again here. Some predictable is good. This is good predictable. This is good predictable. Now, folks, this is Wrestling 101 here. When a superstar of a tag team returns after a long hiatus, after an injury, does that returning superstar win their first match back? If you said yes, you're more of a smart individual. If you said no, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm giving you an F on this class. So the Viking Raiders are back on Monday Night Raw. Great to see Eric and Ivar back together. I think it was Eric that was hurt. For Ivar, I don't know which one was hurt. I think it was Ivar that was hurt. Glad to see them back, of course. They are a legit tag team on Raw. A legit tag team. They were great NXT Tag Team Champions. I remember that match with Ricochet and Aleister Black. Who? Yeah, I know. I missed those two men also. I remember that takeover in New York 2 years ago, WrestleMania weekend. I was at that takeover at Barclays Center, WrestleMania weekend, where I saw the War Raiders against Ricochet and Black. Fucking incredible matchup. Incredible. To me, in my honest opinion, NXT TakeOver New York is the greatest takeover of all time. Next to New Orleans as a close second, and then Philadelphia a close third. That's just me. But, again, when you have a returning superstar of a tag team coming back and you form that tag team again, they win the match. The War Raiders, I will not call them Viking Raiders from this point forward. The War Raiders win this matchup. So Shelton tries to keep Eric grounded, stomps him in the mat. Shelton looks for a suplex, but Eric stalls. So Shelton clubs the back, hits it for a 2 count. Alexander tags in again, drops Eric while taunting Ivar. Cedric beats Eric in the corner and continues to stare at Ivar, but Eric forms him back. Alexander whips Eric to the ropes and gets caught in a triangle choke. Cedric allows his way out and tags Benjamin, who hits a slam for a 2. Cedric tags back in, but Eric flips him over and drills him with a knee. Tags made to Ivar and Shelton, and the big man unloads Ivar, whips Shelton to the ropes, and hits shoulder tackles and a sidewalk slam, followed by a crossbody. I'm telling you, man, Ivar is very fucking athletic for his size. Very fucking athletic. I fucking love Ivar. Incredible athlete for his size. Shelton forces Ivar to their corner, tags Alexander. They look for the double team, for a double closedown, but Ivar cartwheels through them and tags Eric. Ivar is thrown into Shelton by Eric. Then the War Raiders hit the Viking Experience, or should I say Thor's Hammer, for the victory. War Raiders win. Now, I'm happy to see them back. They have to build themselves back up to the Raw Tag Team Championships against AJ and Omos. And I think that'll be an actual good matchup. You know, the War Raiders against AJ and Omos for the Raw Tag Team titles. I think that'll be a really good matchup. Very good matchup. You have Ivar and Eric with the likes of AJ and Omos. Take my money there. I can see that as one of the best matchups so far this year. I mean, it's great to see them back, but at the same time, Vince has killed tag team wrestling for many years. What makes you think Vince is actually going to push these guys at the same time? Since we're so used to it, since we're so used to Vince, you know, killing and burying talent and shit, how long will it take before Eric and Ivar are back in catering? I don't know. But those two men, they deserve a whole lot better. Both Eric and Ivar. Ken Patrick stops Asuka backstage and asks her about her rematch tonight. Asuka says Rhea brought the fire last night. She says losing to Rhea was a nightmare, but tonight she is ready and she will once again be Raw Women's Champion. The matchup is up next. But before that, we get a returning Charlotte Flair. This was predictable because Charlotte was supposed to come back last week, but she didn't. She comes back tonight. And of course, she comes back out of all days. She comes back on the Raw after WrestleMania. Predictable. So Charlotte Flair comes to the ring. And we will talk about her promo right now. And it's not wearing any ring gear. Charlotte says normally she'd be smiling tonight, but last night was WrestleMania and she wasn't there. Good. WrestleMania was a decent show. Was a thumbs up show. It would have been terrible without. Well, it would have been terrible with Charlotte there. WrestleMania, in my opinion, was a pretty thumbs up show. Out of 1 to 10, I gotta give WrestleMania at least a 6.5. Being fair here, 6.5. So Charlotte says normally she'd be smiling tonight, but last night was WrestleMania and she wasn't there. Wait, oh my God, hold up. Hold the phone. Is my thing fucked up? Hold up, my OBS is fucking crashing. Give me a second here, folks. My OBS just crashed. I think I'm not recording. Oh, I'm good. Okay, there you go. Bye-bye, guys. My bad for the technical difficulty. My apologies. So, Charlotte Flair comes to the ring, not wearing any ring gear. Charlotte says normally she'd be smiling tonight, but last night was WrestleMania and she wasn't there. Again, good. She wasn't welcome, and she knows people are saying she's already been on 5 WrestleManias, but she's a franchise player. Charlotte says it wasn't her fault that Asuka needed a tag team partner, but it wasn't her fault that her dad appeared acting like a jackass, and it wasn't her fault that Lacey Evans got pregnant. She did all she could, even challenging Asuka to a match at WrestleMania, but Asuka didn't respond. The opportunist, Rhea Ripley, this is in Charlotte's words, stepped in and challenged Asuka, and she accepted it. A new champion was crowned, a new star was born. But don't think for a second that Ripley was the only one cheering that she wasn't at WrestleMania. The entire women's locker room was loving it. Charlotte says Rhea is the biggest snake of the locker room, and even Asuka was able to talk her way into a rematch tonight. Well, Karma is the bitch, and she is that bitch. Charlotte names all the women on WrestleMania and says not one of them compares to her. So you mean to tell me that Sasha doesn't compare to you? You mean to tell me that Bianca Belair is not compared to you? What a nice job for Charlotte to bury the entire women, not only in the Raw Women's division, but in the SmackDown Women's division as well. Nice job for Charlotte to bury every single one of them. But I have my opinion on Charlotte in just a second. This might piss a lot of people off, but in my opinion, I don't give a fuck. And for the first time since she signed with WWE, she watched WrestleMania from home and realized she isn't stealing opportunities, she creates them. Let me repeat that again, folks. She realized that she isn't stealing opportunities, she creates them. You want to talk about stealing opportunities, Charlotte? Give me a second here. She won't apologize for being the best, for being that damn good. She refuses to be humble anymore because she changed this industry, and nobody gives her any respect. She tells the fans to enjoy the title match that she should have been in and drops the microphone. Folks, I will say this though about Charlotte. She can cut a good promo. This was a good promo by Charlotte. Good promo. Not gonna lie to you. Not great. I've heard better. According to Bubba Ray Dudley son, not Bubba Ray, Bully Ray, he said this was a shoot promo. And I got people in the group chat that I'm in saying, oh, this was great. I've heard better. That's all I'll say. I've heard better than this. Hell, it's called NXT. It's called AEW. I've heard better than what Charlotte said here tonight. A whole lot better. This might piss people off. But at the same time, I'm that type of person that's going to speak my opinion and not give a fuck about it. Charlotte is a 12-time women's champion. I ask you the question. How many of those title reigns was memorable? I'll give you a quick answer. None of them. Not one title reign was important and memorable. None. And again, this might piss you off, but at the same time, I'm just speaking my opinion. So if you don't like my opinion, tough shit. Charlotte, folks, is over fucking rated. People tell me, oh, Charlotte is great in the ring. No, she ain't. What part of Charlotte's in-ring ability is good? I would love to know. What memorable match Charlotte has had in her entire career? I would love to know. Again, she's a 12-time women's champion. How many of those title reigns were memorable? None. None. Charlotte says she isn't stealing opportunities, she creates them. No, honey, you steal opportunities, and on top of that, Vince and Bruce gives you all the opportunities that you want. Hell, I'll even go a step further. Last year, and I had a conversation about this in the group chat that I'm in. Last year, I use last year as an example. Last year, at the Royal Rumble last year, the women's Rumble match last year that was in Houston. You do know that Charlotte was not supposed to win that matchup last year. You know that Charlotte was not supposed to win the women's Rumble match last year. You know who was the original winner that was supposed to win that match? Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler was supposed to win that matchup. It would have been that much better if Shayna Baszler won that matchup. But the reason why they gave it to Charlotte was because Charlotte didn't want to be eliminated by an NXT superstar. So again, I asked the question, who has Charlotte put over in her entire run in WWE? Absolutely none. Zero. Nobody. Did Charlotte have to win that matchup last year? No. Did Charlotte have to win the NXT Women's Championship match last year? No. Charlotte last year, whether people like it or not, Charlotte last year, she fucked up Rhea Ripley's momentum. Remember when Ripley came out of NXT, she won the NXT Women's Championship from Shayna Baszler, and Ripley was the hottest woman, like heat-wise, like momentum-wise, she was the hottest woman in all of WWE. Who fucked up that momentum? Charlotte. Oh, but Charlotte puts people over. Who? Who the fuck has Charlotte put over? None. 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 Oh, Charlotte is the greatest of all time. No, she ain't. No, she ain't. And I'll say this about Charlotte. I'm going to sit here and admit this right now. Charlotte can cut a great promo. She can. I'll give you that. But when it comes to in-ring work, she's fucking horrible. That's just my opinion. And if my opinion pisses you off, then sorry. I have no idea what the fuck to tell you. Charlotte, in my opinion, is the babyface Roman Reigns that's being shoved down our fucking throat. There, I said it. I said it. Charlotte is the Roman Reigns of the women's division when Roman was a babyface. Remember when Roman was being shoved down our throats as this babyface and shit that Vince wanted to fucking portray and push so much? That's Charlotte right now. And I asked the question again. And I asked this question. When? Not a question of if, but when does Charlotte take that Raw Women's Championship from Rhea Ripley? Charlotte played a big factor in the Raw Women's Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Asuka. A rematch from WrestleMania. And I'm a man of questions, so I gotta ask this one. Why are we getting a rematch for the Raw Women's Championship? I thought that the rematch clause were acquainted. I thought Vince got rid of the rematch clause. Why are we getting this matchup on Monday Night Raw on the night after WrestleMania? Oh, this is the great anticipation for Charlotte. Charlotte, folks, is over fucking rated. I didn't even watch this match. I only saw the ending. I took a shower during this matchup. By the time I came out, I see Charlotte hitting Ripley and Asuka. This match was a no contest. My notes say no contest. I don't know why it's saying no contest. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I'll go over the end of the matchup here. So Ripley begins to look frustrated as she shoves Asuka's face. Asuka fires off a few strikes, but Ripley lands some of her own, then hits a snapmare. Ripley looks for a drop kick, but Asuka dodges. Ripley lifts Asuka up awkwardly and wants the Samoan drop, but Asuka tried to reverse it with a crucifix slam, but they botched it. Didn't see that match, but according to my notes here, they botched it. Asuka counters Ripley and a pleasant armbar. Ripley tries to roll free, but gets grabbed in the Asuka lock. Ripley climbs to her feet with Asuka pulling at her face and running into the buckles. Ripley slams Asuka face first with the electric chair drop and covers for a near fall. Ripley argues with the referee as Asuka rolls to the apron. Ripley goes after and attempts to suplex, but Asuka shoves her back into the post to hit the DDT on the apron. Both women spill to the floor, but Charlotte Flair runs down, shoves them both into the steel steps, and match being called a no contest. According to my notes here, folks, and according to my knowledge here, didn't Charlotte go after Asuka first? If Charlotte went after Asuka, then Asuka wins the match by DQ. That's just not with it for me. Charlotte slams Asuka into the barricade and drops Rhea with a big boot. Flair hits an exploder suplex into Asuka on the floor, then kicks her in the face before they're doing the same thing to Rhea. Charlotte mocks Rhea and Asuka. Then for what I saw, Charlotte did this. Charlotte, folks, is back to a heel. For how many times now? Like what, 6 times already? I said what I said about Charlotte. At this point, I don't give a shit. If I pissed you off about that Charlotte rant, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just a passionate wrestling fan, folks. Miz and Morrison are walking backstage with Maurice. Maurice made an appearance. Beautiful Maurice here. Miz kisses her and reminds Morrison that she is their guest on the Miz TV. I wonder why. We see Shayna and Nia watching a video of Mandy Rose falling during the WrestleMania entrance on Saturday. At this point, it's just dragging it. Like it was funny at first, now it ain't funny anymore. Like, come on now. They laugh and watch it over and over and over and over and over again. Mandy walks up and asks them if they're done. Shayna leaves. As Nia tells her to leave, that she got this. Mandy tells Nia it was pretty funny. She can laugh at herself. It's especially funny when you don't see it coming, and she slaps Nia. I laughed. I fucking laughed at this. Then Dana attacks from behind. They slam Nia into a post and walk off. Oh, we'll talk about that matchup in just a second. Alexa Bliss is in her playground. And what I thought was a very good segment here. She says WrestleMania was really fun. It was a 6.5 out of 10. But maybe people are wondering why she did what she did. Well, Alexa tells a story about how she was a lost little girl until the darkness found her. Then they went back to SmackDown when Alexa was captured by the Fiend, and the Fiend did the mandible claw on Alexa Bliss. I saw that episode, by the way. Neutered her, and taught her everything it knew. But then the darkness went away. That's when the little girl realized she never needed the darkness to begin with. She could do everything on her own. The darkness was standing in her way. Why else would she use what she was taught to destroy the darkness? She says it's true what they say. The female of the species is always the deadliest. Along the way, she unlocks something truly evil, and she introduces her new friend, Lily, a creepy doll. Alexa says her fun is just getting started. I said this to my friends at the group chat that I'm in. I said one thing about this segment that I love so much, it had continuity. Oh wow, something rare that Vincent Bruce doesn't have when it comes to the fucking storylines. This storyline, for some odd reason, has continuity. That I can appreciate. Now, is Alexa Bliss by herself now? Is she having this new character? I don't know. But I'm a little bit intrigued by it. Just give it some time, in my opinion. Give it some time, because Alexa Bliss so far is doing the best work of her entire career. Alexa Bliss kept the Fiend relevant. That's just me. I like it, though. But now she's having this new character, and to be honest with you, I'm intrigued. I'm going to give this some time to see what it does. The Miz, John Morrison, and Maurice come to the ring. Maurice will be the guest host of the next episode of Miz TV. Welcome to the not must-see talk show in history, Miz TV. The Miz is not really must-see. He calls himself that, but he really isn't. Except for the 2016 feud he had with Dolph Ziggler. That was some fantastic stuff. WrestleMania has come and gone, and history was made. In spite of everything that happened, he was still the most talked about entertainer in all entertainment. Miz says everyone wants to know what his gorgeous wife is doing on Miz TV, and it's clear Morrison doesn't know either. She's there because right now, right after RAW, is the season 2 premiere of the show, Miz and Mrs. Like, who watches that? Morrison congratulates them and says maybe the two of them should have a spin-off. Miz reminds him that he's in tonight's episode. Miz and Morrison say they're the most giving superstars of all time because they made Bad Bunny look like $1 million. So Priest interrupts them. Says Bad Bunny doesn't owe Miz and Morrison anything. Bad Bunny shocked the world. He really did. Because he trained day in and day out to live out his dream at WrestleMania. Priest says Miz said he didn't belong, but let's not forget the headline was Bad Bunny beats The Miz. Miz pretends to laugh and says at least his name's in the headline. Miz says Priest was only at WrestleMania because of his friend, and he was upstaged by a singer. Miz says he's had a lot of WrestleMania moments, including being John Cena in the main event of the worst WrestleMania of all time. Well, one of the worst WrestleMania's main event of all time was Miz and Cena. In my opinion, one of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time. The best match of that show was Taker and Triple H no holds barred. That was the best match in the entire show. That's just me, though. Miz challenges Priest to a match tonight, and Morrison says he wanted to do that. Maurice says they can both fight him, and Priest loves the idea. So we get this 2-on-1 handicap match that A, didn't make any fucking sense, B, wasn't necessary, and C, this is literally the exact same match we saw at WrestleMania, just minus Bad Bunny. We had The Miz there, we had Morrison, we had Priest, and we had Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. Take off Bad Bunny is legitimately the exact same matchup from WrestleMania. So 2 rematches from WrestleMania on this episode of Raw. If you really think about it. Again, this matchup was not necessary. Absolutely not necessary. Why is this match even taking fucking place? Priest, you already proved your point. You beat Miz and Morrison last night. Why you want to feud with them again? And guess what? It cost Damien Priest the entire fucking matchup here. What is Priest trying to prove here? He already beat Miz and Morrison with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania back on Saturday night. One of the best matches of the entire show of both nights. That was in my top 5 best matches of the entire show of both nights. Miz and Morrison win here. Miz and Morrison win here. And on top of that, The Miz rolled up Damien Priest in his underwear. Yeah, folks, I did not box this. You heard me correct. Miz beat Priest in his fucking underwear. I am not going to go over this matchup here, but just know, Miz pinned Priest in his fucking underwear. I am not going to go over this here. I really am not. I really am not. I just don't care. I just don't give a shit. Don't care. Backstage, Kevin Patrick asked them about what happened with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Nia gets mad and says the only reason they showed the clip again is to embarrass her. Well, you did your job, Bernie. Rose and Brooke attacked her and defected from a WrestleMania blunder. Well, it's mission accomplished because after they destroyed them, nobody will be talking about them. The matchup is up next. We get Nia Jaxson, Shayna Baszler against Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke in a non-title match. This match ends via a countout. Now, I understand what Mandy Rose did at WrestleMania was funny. She slipped because of the inclement weather that was in Tampa, both on Saturday and Sunday for WrestleMania. They were fucking dragging it this entire time. I get it. It was funny at first, but now it's done. Can we please move on to more seriousness? Shall we please? So, Mandy wants her finished, but Baszler counters with a coup for the clutch. Rose grabs the ropes, so Baszler throws her from the ring and tags Jax. Jax goes out and intimidates Rose on the floor, then throws her back in the ring. Jax goes to get into the ring, but slips and falls off the apron. And get this, folks. You might fucking be pissed at this. Or might say, oh, that was fucking stupid of them to do. Rose laughs and Nia loses it. She slides inside, but Rose rolls back out. Rose and Dana then walk up the ramp and says it's not worth it. Nia and Shayna win by countout. So you mean to tell me, folks, you had Nia Jax slip and fall from the apron only for Mandy Rose to laugh and Nia loses her fucking temper. She chases after Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke and her leave the fucking ring during a fucking non-title matchup only for them to lose via a countout. Knowing that if you would have beaten Nia and Shayna, you could have possibly been in line for a women's tag team title opportunity. That is fucking terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible. Whoever wrote the show should be fucking fired immediately. That was fucking awful. We see highlights of Night 1 WrestleMania opening match with Lashley defeating Drew to retain the championship. Lashley will make an almighty address after the break. So from there, we get MVP in the ring by himself. MVP and Lashley. Well, MVP says Bobby Lashley will be joining them shortly. He says on Saturday, Lashley retained over Drew, and all he wanted to do today was celebrate his victory. However, he felt so disrespected that he had to set things straight. MVP says McIntyre is an absolute warrior, fearsome, and one of the very best there is. However, he took his eye off the prize for a split second, and Lashley beat him. And it's okay to be number 2 to Bobby Lashley. MVP asks how Drew feels today and says he can barely move. So if Drew McIntyre can't handle the Hurt Lock, then who can? Absolutely no one. And I love how they're protecting the Hurt Lock. I love it so far. So Drew McIntyre interrupts MVP and stands on the stage. Drew says MVP doesn't know how he feels, and MVP says he should feel humbled. Drew says he knew WrestleMania was going to come down to the Hurt Lock and the Claymore, or whoever made the first mistake. Well, he's man enough to admit he made the first mistake by allowing MVP to distract him. And when Lashley applies the Hurt Lock, there's not much anyone can do. He passed out at WrestleMania. Mind you, folks, McIntyre did not tap out at WrestleMania. He passed out. McIntyre says he hopes MVP keeps Lashley's ego growing, keeps him in the fancy suits because he wants his head as big as possible. He wants Lashley on the biggest spectacle, on the biggest pedestal possible, so that when he eventually gets his rematch, hits a Claymore, and Lashley falls off, he'll hit the ground hard. Literally, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. MVP says nothing is given, everything is earned, but out comes Braun Strowman. MVP asks Braun, why is he out here? And Braun says McIntyre lost and he needs to go to the back of the line. I hate to say this, but I agree with Braun Strowman here. McIntyre, you lost on Saturday night. You lost at WrestleMania, and now you go to the back of the line. You go to the back of the line. Enough title matches for you, Mr. Drew McIntyre. Strowman says he destroys Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, and he goes to the front of the line. Randy Orton then comes out. Why Orton? And says he is done with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, which means no more mind games. He can focus on being the Apex Predator and the WWE Champion. Adam Pearce comes out and says he sees where this is going. So tonight it'll be Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman, and the winner gets Lashley at WrestleMania Backlash for the WWE Championship on May the 16th, which is legitimately their next pay-per-view. So I'm guessing WrestleMania Backlash is a new pay-per-view name. So we're combining two pay-per-views. We're putting them together to make it as one. Lazy WWE creative. Absolutely fucking lazy. The pay-per-view name itself is fucking terrible. Just name it Backlash. That's it. Because it's the Backlash after WrestleMania. Makes sense. But you know, Vince and making sense doesn't really go well together. And Bruce as well. So we get a triple threat match in the main event of the show. And the winner gets Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania Backlash for the WWE Championship. Why is McIntyre in this triple threat? He lost at WrestleMania. But I get why Drew's back. I get why Drew's in the matchup. I get why. Strowman is in this match because he beat Shane. And who the fuck is Shane McMahon? So now again, if you beat Shane McMahon, you get a championship match. You get an opportunity to fight for the championship. And Orton, he beat The Fiend. In the worst match of WrestleMania. I guess, but this is created for you in 2021. Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman are backstage, and Drew tries to intimidate him Drew tells Braun that tonight isn't a one-on-one cage match with a non-wrestler. Wow, Drew, I can actually agree with you on that. It's a triple threat where he could be caught with an RKO or a Claymore at any time. Braun says Drew is acting like he doesn't know what a triple threat is. Well, he better not be insulting his intelligence because that didn't work out well for the last guy. Oh, I bet. Strowman tells Drew he has a monster-sized ass-kicking coming his way tonight. We get the New Day versus Elias and Jaxson Ryker. I actually fell asleep while Elias and Jaxson Ryker were in the ring. I kind of fell asleep. By the time I woke up, the bell rang. So I'm not gonna go over their segment here. I'm not gonna go over it. Really, I'm not. It's not really worth going over. We get the New Day versus Elias and Jaxson Ryker. The New Day win. Ryker applies a rear chin lock, but Woods quickly fights up and hits a jawbreaker. Woods hits an enziguri and tags Kofi while Elias tags in. Kofi hits a springboard chop, then multiple chops and a leaping stomp for a 2 count. Kingston hits a boom drop, but looks for trouble in paradise, but Ryker jumps on the apron and Kofi hits him. Woods takes out Ryker with a drop kick through the ropes, then Kofi gets hit by Elias. Kofi tags Woods. They hit the backbreaker double stomp for the victory. So there you go from there. Don't care for the matchup. New Day wins. I'm sure you guys don't care. Randy Orton is backstage and he says he has been distracted for the past 6 months. That all ended at WrestleMania, and now he can focus on the WWE Championship once again. However, he needs to go through Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman to do that, but it is what it is, and he's going back to the top of the mountain. I did read a news article earlier today that Orton is going to be taking time off of TV after WrestleMania. So maybe this is his write-off until then. We don't know. We're back in the Firefly Funhouse for the first time in 3 months, and all the puppets are there. Bray Wyatt comes through the door and all smiles and laughs and says it feels great to be back, especially when his other friends betrayed him. Abby calls Alexa a few names with the sound bleeped out. Yeah, Abby, just say she's a bitch. Just say so. I know for sure what Abby the Witch called Alexa Bliss. A bitch. You don't have to bleep it out. Wyatt says that no matter what has happened lately, they'll always have each other. He feels great, and this is going to be a new start. He feels reborn, and he pretends to be a healer to all the puppets. Wyatt promises that he shall return and not be chasing clout this time. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it is what it is. Now, I said this last night during night 2 with the opening matchup, which was fucking garbage and terrible. I read a report earlier today that Bray Wyatt was supposed to win that match last night over Randy Orton. So again, why do you have The Fiend be burned, have him come back in 4 months, only for him to lose to Randy Orton? I figured why they had Orton win, because the original plan was for Wyatt to win. Why they didn't have Bray Wyatt to win, I don't know. If that was the case, maybe Wyatt and Bliss will still be together. And The Fiend could possibly be chasing after the WWE Championship. Would that be good? I don't know. No idea. Drew McIntyre makes his entrance, followed by Braun Strowman. The main event's up next. Triple threat main event winner gets Bobby Lashley and a shot at the WWE Championship at WrestleMania Backlash on May the 16th. Am I off that day? Yes, I am. I am off that day. So there you go. You guys will get the review on that show. So this was predictable. This time, a bad predictable. Orton is a heel. So him against Lashley, no. But again, we're in the fucking Thunderdome and there's no fucking actual crowd. So who would have cared if Orton won this match? Strowman? I'd rather see fucking paint dry than fucking have Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley for the championship. I'd rather sit on my fucking bathroom and play with the fucking sink for 3 hours. They watch fucking Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley for the championship. So that's automatically going to Drew McIntyre. Because they're playing the fact that McIntyre didn't tap out at WrestleMania. McIntyre passed out. And I said it on Twitter, I'd rather have McIntyre earn his way to a shot at the championship than have the opportunity given to him. That's just me. That's just me, folks. So McIntyre wins the triple threat match. Strowman tosses Orton inside, takes a break to smash Drew with the steel steps. Strowman drags Orton under the bottom rope, clubs his chest. Braun grabs steel steps again as Orton comes out of the ring and he hits both of them with the steps. Braun slowly gets to the apron, but Orton hits him with a draping DDT. Orton drops his knees, pumps up, and catches Strowman with an RKO, but Drew breaks it up with a kick. McIntyre then just pins Orton for the victory. Drew didn't use the Claymore to win this match. I found that pretty odd. So we get Lashley and McIntyre again next month. I'm guessing there's going to be a stipulation type matchup at Backlash. Or should I say WrestleMania Backlash. The Hurt Business's music hits, but MVP comes out alone. Attention to detail, folks. The Hurt Business's music hits, but MVP comes out alone. Drew stares at MVP when all of a sudden, Mace and T-Bar grab Drew McIntyre from behind and chokeslam him together. T-Bar and Mace leave the ring and stare at Drew from the ramp. Is this a new Hurt Business? Now, I'm here watching the end of the show, and I'm here thinking to myself, we're getting Mace and T-Bar, which is, I forgot the other guy's name, but I know that's Dijakovic and, Dio Madden. Dio Madden and Dominic Dijakovic chokeslam Drew McIntyre after he beats Orton and Strowman. As long, I will say this now, as long as this leads to both those men, both T-Bar and Mace, as long as they both unmask and show their true identity as Dio Madden and Dominic Dijakovic, that's all the fuck I care about. That's all I care about. If we're going to get both Madden and Dijakovic with their masks on, this will fail. This will fail. This will 110% fail. Now, they're in the hands of Bobby Lashley and MVP. So I'm praying to the heavens on earth that this leads to them being unmasked. Crossing my fingers here. Can you imagine a matchup between Dio Madden and Drew McIntyre, or Dominic Dijakovic and Drew McIntyre? I would absolutely love that. I would absolutely fucking love that. I was expecting, maybe a Samoa Joe coming back. They took off Samoa Joe off the announce team. Everybody was automatically guessing and assuming, maybe we get Samoa Joe. He comes back and attacks Drew McIntyre. Maybe Samoa Joe joins the Hurt Business. I was hoping for that. But we got Mace and T-Bar, which I'm hoping in the end they end up being unmasked and they show their true identity from NXT. And that is it, guys, for Raw Review. That is the end of the show. McIntyre and Lashley will get that match at WrestleMania Backlash on May 16th for the WWE Championship. I'm guessing that's going to be a stipulation type matchup. Who knows? But it is what it is. This show tonight was not good at all. Not good. Not good at all. In my opinion, the best thing on the entire show was Lashley and Riddle, which wasn't a bad match. Wasn't a bad matchup. Alexa Bliss with the Alexa's Playground segment was pretty good. Continuity, pretty good. Outside of that, that was it. Nothing really happened on the show tonight. I just really don't care. It's the Raw after WrestleMania. We were supposed to get the best Raw of the entire year. It's the Raw after WrestleMania. This was supposed to be the best Raw of the entire year. For the second year in a row, the Raw after WrestleMania gets a thumbs down from me. Thank you guys so much for watching Raw Review. This is the end of the show. If you guys enjoyed Raw Review, hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below your thoughts of the show. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on bell, guys, for all notifications, guys. Check out my recent content on the channel, man. I've unloaded a lot of stuff, of content on the channel. WrestleMania Night 2 review, live on the channel right now. WrestleMania Night 1 review, SmackDown review for this past Friday. Not only Night 1, but Night 2 as well of TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Link to all these videos will be in the annotation above that you see on the upper hand corner of your screen, as well as down below in the description. Make sure you guys are also following me on social media. Twitter at GoodVibesChris with an underscore. Instagram at GoodVibesChris183. And TikTok. Follow me on TikTok at DaddyChris183. I will see you guys tomorrow for NXT review. NXT is being moved to Tuesday nights. A little programming note here, folks. You guys are going to get NXT review tomorrow. I might want to include Dynamite on Wednesday, because I will not be covering SmackDown on Friday, because Friday I work. From Friday to Tuesday, I have Monday off, so you guys will get Raw Review next week. I am off next Monday. I have the Tampa Bay Rays coming into town against the Yankees this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have Monday off, and then I got the Atlanta Braves coming in the Yankee Stadium on Tuesday and Wednesday next week as well. So I have Tampa this weekend, the Rays this weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you guys will not get any SmackDown review this week, unless if I feel like coming home, watch the show again, and then record, which I will probably not do. I'll probably be tired from work. So instead of having SmackDown review this week, you guys will get NXT review tomorrow, and maybe, just maybe, you guys might get Dynamite review, AEW Dynamite review on Wednesday night, because I will not be covering SmackDown on Friday, because I have work this week, and I have the Rays for 3 games. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm off Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, just a quick homestand, we get the Atlanta Braves. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for NXT review. Guys, leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the video all over social media. I'll see you guys tomorrow for NXT with the fallout of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Until then, guys, I'm Chris. See you guys tomorrow for NXT review.